Day one of the authenticity challenge, and I've been avoiding this. I've been here before, for anyone that remembers, but I've been avoiding starting again because I've been afraid. I really felt like I needed to spend some time alone today, and I sat in meditation for an hour. And all these thoughts came up as I was meditating. And I decided to grab a pen and paper and put it next to me in case the thought came up and I wanted to write it down, because I would, of course, forget. And I gave myself that permission to do that. And what came up was that, we all have personas. We all have masks. The word persona in Latin is mask, and we all have masks. We actually have many, and they're layered. And we actually live most of our lives in a mask. And it's much more comfortable than living without the mask, because in this world, this current reality that we exist in, masks are acceptable and real selves are not. Because in all of our humanness, there is so much mess. We all go to the toilet. Women bleed every month. But that's not what you see. We're all put in a box. And actually, someone that I'm seeing at the moment, I've noticed quite a lot that he maybe has this idea of me, or he has this one aspect of me that he really likes that. He's seen into this box. And he's like, oh, if you could just be like that all the time, that would be awesome. Like, I could love that. I could totally love that. And obviously, I'm not that. I'm not that which he projects onto me. I couldn't possibly be. And if we were both to live like that, then he would undoubtedly get bored of me, because we're multifaceted as humans, and if we only put one mask on that's acceptable, it's gonna get a little bit boring. And I feel like it's similar for me, actually. There's a couple of bits for me that I've honed into on him where I'm like, wow, I like that. Yeah, I like that, and I like that. Yeah, wow, oh my goodness, if you could just be like that all the time. And I get really frustrated when I don't get that. I get really frustrated when I see the sides of himself that I don't like. The parts of himself that I feel like they haven't evolved since he was 12, and they frustrate me. And there's good reason to feel frustrated, because those parts of himself are his 12-year-old self in his adult body, and it's frustrating. And I find it hard to love those parts. And he finds it hard to love my parts when I'm in a bad mood. He wants me to be consistent. I mean, that's just the biggest madness in the world, isn't it? Consistency. Like, as humans, we are probably the most inconsistent of species. The only thing that's consistent about us is our mask and our persona. And then when we take that off, we really scare people. I remember when I was in the Dominican Republic and I was leading transparent communication workshops with really wealthy women, and they had never shared their real self before. They had only shared the mask. So when I was asking them or inviting them to take off the mask and just share from within, there was so much resistance. Literally, like they would just couldn't do the exercise. They just had to keep chatting, had to keep the mask on. And then when I finally got them to take the mask off, many people cried. Many people started sharing stories of how their fathers had died and they were connecting on a really intimate level. And then they were so excited. It was like back to being all one, and then they wanted to have a drink together. And no one minded that the mask had slipped because all of the masks had slipped, so that was okay. But what I noticed was that very quickly they realized that they would have to put the mask back on in their society to survive and be accepted, and so it made them feel very vulnerable, and a lot of people didn't come back for the next one, even though I know they got loads out of it. So I've been feeling vulnerable about starting the Authenticity Challenge again. But I decided just to start. And I will go gently. And I will probably start from my mask, because it's been a while since I shared this bravely, but for a while. These days, most people are trying to sell something. So they're using authenticity or vulnerability, and then at the end, you've got a link to, a buy button. And hey, I will too. We all have to survive in this world, and these days, it's about selling products. And sometimes the product is ourselves. And sometimes it's something we've made. And it's really hard to sell from your authentic self, because no one wants that. No one trusts that. It's too much for most people. They want you to sell from the mask. That's what's expected. If you want to sell, you can sell from the mask, even if the product is authentic and vulnerable. So these are the kind of conversations that we're going to be having here. And slowly, slowly, I will feel safe again and comfortable, and I will rip off that mask, and we'll see what happens.